ingredients that we obviously look for in any software package that we put together. I talked the other day about trading off, for example, the yellow Voltics, because they have a very high probability of reversing, and if they don't reverse, you're not in a trade anyway. So that's always going to be something that you can remember, that you don't always get a trade off a yellow Voltic. But if we just scroll through, for example, the bond here, this is the ultra bond, and you look for the yellow Voltics, they stand out. That's the key thing, I suppose, from any indicator, is it stands out. If we scroll forward, all you're looking for is that yellow Voltic. And obviously, if it doesn't give you a yellow Voltic, guess what? Well, obviously, that's not going to be the trade trigger that you're looking for. But when it gives you one, there's one right there. Do you see it? So we now get a yellow Voltic. Your job now is to look at that and see if I can get a little buy reversal against that. Obviously, you're not just going to go ahead and do that because there's a yellow Voltic, but I'm just trying to show you the idea behind this, is that when you get yellow Voltic, it's usually a real money jam of price right there. This should be a buy trade kicking off here. Was it? Sure was. Made some nice money, right? You got your first initial flip away from that price point, and it was a very, very nice profitable flip with almost a couple of ticks drawdown top line. So that was obviously something that you were able to take advantage of. Did it develop? No, too many buyers came in. That's why it didn't develop, right? So there's something else that happened afterwards. But it stood out for you, didn't it? The Voltic stood out. So we keep going and we look for any more of these magical little signals that sometimes appear. I don't even know if there were anymore, but you look for them. And the key to this is, of course, recognizing that Voltics as a rule have a jamming quality about them. Like Voltics in this area here has a jamming quality about it, especially when there's a manipulation also attached to the same reading. So you get these storylines about how good that little short was there based on this story that unfolded through the use of the deltas. So you see how rare these yellow Voltics really are, guys. See them? We found one right there. Look, 115.30. 115.30. What happened? Top tick price. 2 out of 2. They say, well, it's hardly exactly a statistical average when you're using two examples. We can't really draw any conclusion from that. You're right. You're 100% accurate with that idea. You can't draw any conclusion with it, but it's still 2 out of 2 winners, and it starts to develop out as a question. Well, is it strong enough? Are you starting to get confidence in that process that might allow you to, maybe soften the signal somewhat again to try and figure out that you might get a few extra ones? You remember, you've always got the ability to change around the signal a little bit so that you get a few more of these things starting to set up on your screens. And obviously, as you get more, you start to be able to look at it from that point of view of the deltas, for example. Does it line up with the deltas? Does Voltic line up with any delta? And does that give you the trade signal? Does that give you an opportunity to step into a particular deal? If you look at the NASDAQ since just about 1 o'clock this afternoon, and we look at any Voltic, and you see the Voltic's coming in here at the same time as the pink line starts rallying, you say, well, there's a buying opportunity, and sure enough, you make some nice gains. Voltic's come in here during that drop phase, and you can say, well, I could lean against those Voltic's for a sell trade, and sure enough, you make some nice money again there. That's 2 out of 2. And as we keep going forward, you see there's some more Voltic's up there against the pink line that's dropping. Now, obviously, there's a lot of Voltic's up here, so you'd have to drag up your sell stop order and then lean against the final top one. And the sell comes in and it makes some nice money. Then you get this beautiful flip here on a big Voltic drop. You see it? You see the big Voltic drop behind the trade here? And then you get a little buy stop in against those. And sure enough, you make another fortune away from that price. When the delta's doing the opposite from the manipulation, these Voltics mean something. They've got a real value to you as far as a story. And we want to try and take advantage of them. This is ridiculous. This is quite simply ridiculous. It's not a bottom edge sweep, so you're obviously waiting for that happening. When it doesn't, you obviously join in with a buy trade and join in. Beautiful, right? Absolutely beautiful. Did you make a fortune? Sure. Did you sell any of these Voltics? No, because the red line agrees with them. The red line agrees with the upside move. The selling trapped in this area is going to be gold dust for this trade, and you're going to make a lot of monies, right? Cash open comes in. Voltic comes in here. Red line starts going up. Macro red line, macro pink line divergence. Big style, yes? So we start thinking about these as leans. We start considering this as a possible lean trade. The Voltic turns around, the book has gone very bid, and then all of a sudden the pink line starts to jam into the top edge initially. The book is very bullish. We obviously get this big switcheroo here. We can see we get a big rally. So we don't get any leans. There's no sell below here. There's no sell below here. There's no sell into these areas. Book's still very bullish. Book's still very bullish. Now the pink line's now agreeing with the entire move. Now, I quite like the idea of looking for a top line sell in the NASDAQ. I'm not sure that the NASDAQ is as bullish as the market is currently making out. So I'm going to be very, very interested to see if this starts to jam up into these top lines. And if it does, I'm going to be having a little look at it. But at the moment, the book's still very bullish. It's very difficult to be selling it. The Voltics are still, still not giving us any leans at top edges. The pink line is still bullish in the short term. So at the moment, I don't have a deal. I'm just interested in a possible deal into those top lines. So I don't have a deal at the moment, but I am looking. You can see at the moment, it's all buy programs. Again, still driving into that top edge. Still buyers, 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 and a few more buyers into top edges. I'm thinking 15,300 would be a good place to start the sell. That's what I've got in mind myself anyway. On the NASDAQ is 15,300. That could be the trade. That could be the narrative. And, we're going to be watching for that switcheroo coming in. A little bit of a flip off of that price point. In terms of measures, we're probably just above the 15,300 at the moment in terms of a measured move. So that kind of ties in with a flush at 15,300. That's my own gut feel on this at this point. The bond, well, we were absolutely spot on. Called that to perfection. Even the walkaway was good at 29s, 30s, 31s. It's coming back to retest it. Is it good enough to get a short play on? Possibly, actually. It's certainly starting to build that quality about it. Ten certainly thinks there's a sell play coming up. I'm surprised we haven't seen any triggers coming in for it just yet. So I was a little bit surprised at that one. I'd like to have seen a few more pieces of data coming through for that short sell to come in, but that's certainly a trade that I'm looking at. Now that would obviously tie in with that NASDAQ top line squeeze getting sold into, so that would be a nice kind of tie in at that stage.